Welcome to Meeples on Meeples, episode 85. I'm Adam.
And I'm Brian.
As usual, we want to invite you over to our website, our YouTube channel, our Facebook page. Subscribe to all of those, follow along. You'll be able to see all of our videos, all of our reviews, and see what we've been playing. All right, this week's game of the week is VivaJava, the coffee game, the dice game. One of the longest titles I've ever heard.
We will just call it VivaJava, the dice game.
I guess we'll start with components, is what comes in the box here. Everything's pretty high quality. As you'll know that we like here in our group, you get player aids, and it's kind of neat. They all come on this kind of coaster shape.
And they have a different back, too, if you use it as a coaster, like a different fake blend of coffee company.
Yeah. But that gives you your the different turn order of what you do on each turn. You get two sets of dice, and these are the
coffee bean dice.
Coffee bean dice that you roll on a normal turn. And Brian will explain why you get two sets of them, because later on in the game, as you're playing, you'll have to swap out. Sometimes some of the dice will be used, and so you'll have to actually, if you're going to roll, use the other set of dice. You also get another set of black dice. Those are the flavor dice. They are kind of bonus dice that get added in later in the game, depending on what you roll. On top of that, you have, again, it looks like the coaster, but it's actually a pad of score sheets that each player will get in order to keep track of their score, keep track of what they've rolled throughout the game.
That are double-sided.
And then you have the three major components that you'll be playing on. And I guess this one over here, it says light in the middle, isn't one you'll play on, but it tells you the different special abilities depending on the colored dice you roll. So again, it's kind of another player aid. But then you have the feature blend and the rainbow blend coasters, I guess I'll call them. Yeah. And those are the ones you'll be playing your dice on, the ones that you'll be taking, when you create a blend to score points, and they'll get passed around the group as you play. There's also some cards that you can play with in a more advanced version of the game.
And they basically just explain all of the different special abilities, that's what these discs are, that you can play with and mix it up, use different special abilities each game, and the card gives it more in-depth so you can pick it up and read it if you're not sure what it does.
And then you do have each player, it's a 4-player game, has their own little colored discs, wood discs that correspond to each individual player. You'll get those discs again to use special abilities throughout the game.
When you play a VivaJava, the dice game,
the coffee game,
the dice game, on your turn you take 5 dice, and you roll them. What these are is they are basically your coffee beans that you have available to make a blend. Each round you're trying to make a blend to sell to the public, and the better your blend, the more points you get, or at least you'll knock somebody else out, and I'll explain that in a second. But each side, and each bean does correspond with a number like you would on a normal 6-sided die. The white bean has 1 pip underneath it, one little dot underneath, so the white would be the 1, the yellow would be a strength of 2, let's see here, the brown is 3, the red is 4, green is 5, and the black, like people like black coffee, really strong coffee, a strong bean is a 6, and instead of putting 6 pips, they put a circle around it to show that that's the strongest bean. So you're going to be rolling your 5 dice. For instance, I have 2 brown, a green, a yellow, and a white, and then you have to decide what you want to do with those dice. You started off the game just getting 1 roll, no re-rolls yet. Your options are, if I were to have rolled 5 different colors, yellow, green, red, brown, white, I can get what we call the rainbow blend. 5 different beans, it's the rainbow blend. I would take that, put it in front of me, and I get 1 victory point that I can then mark off on my player aid. If it goes around and nobody else, player 2 rolls, they don't get a rainbow blend to knock me out. Player 3, player 4, it comes back to me, and I'm still the only one who's gotten a rainbow blend. I keep this in front of me, and I get another victory point. And every round, if it gets back to me, I slowly rack up victory points. If anybody else rolls a new rainbow blend, they would replace me. There's no stronger or weaker in the rainbow blends. The other option is you're trying to create a featured blend. Featured blends, strength matters. That's where you want to have multiple of the same colors. So let's say I rolled 3 red, a green, and a black. The blend would be the red beans, and then the black and the green would just be the kind of the extra beans, because you always have to have 5 dice on here. So I would say, okay, I created a featured blend here. I take that, put it in front of me, and I put the dice on there to show that my featured blend is 3 reds. That's why you need the second set of dice. The other players are not going to roll with that. And in order to steal the featured blend from me, they have to knock me out
when you first get the feature blend, just like the rainbow blend, you automatically get 1 point for creating the blend.
And if it goes all the way around and it comes back to me, nobody's replaced my rainbow blend, and I'll explain how to do that in a second. It weakens, meaning it's not as popular in the public eye. So I lose 1 die off of it. Now it's 3 red and 1 black. I lost the green die. And I have to decide now, okay, I got 3 victory points at the beginning of my turn because I made it a full round and I still control it. So now I got 3 more points. I lose the die. Do I want to go around, risk going around again, hoping nobody beats it, and get 3 the next time, in which case I forfeit my entire turn?
Yep.
Or do I want to roll the remaining 4 dice I have on here and give up the rainbow blend? I mean, the feature blend, excuse me. If I let it go around again, it weakens again, and then I decide, do I want to do it another time to get 3 more points, or do I want to just roll 3, and you only get to roll the dice that are remaining on here? So controlling the feature blend gets you a lot of points, but it weakens what you can roll in your options. The third option, I rolled once, and I didn't get a rainbow blend. I can't replace the featured blend. Oh, by the way, to replace the featured blend, I forgot. There were the 3 reds, that original one, and a black and a green. Somebody would have to roll, remember, the red is 4 pips. Somebody would have to either roll 4 reds to beat mine, or they'd have to roll 3 of the 5 pips, which is green.
Yep.
3 greens would beat 3 reds because it's a 5s beating 4s. It's kind of like poker hands, really, if you think about it.
Yahtzee
Cards,
with the dice.
Yahtzee. So that's the feature blend. Let's say I roll and I can't. Nope. I have 2 greens, 2 reds, and a brown. I definitely can't get the rainbow blend. I can't beat that feature blend that was on there a second ago. So I have to decide how I want to research. I can research red, green, or brown because that's what I rolled. And each of those beans has they call it a research track on your scorecard. If I roll 2 reds, I can cross off 2 beans on my research track for red. And what happens is when you reach certain points on that research track, it unlocks the special abilities on that third coaster that Adam talked about. So go ahead and explain that.
So, for instance, your green, would it be your green one?
Let's say I did the 2 reds.
Let's start with the 2 reds. Now the reds, when you've marked off 2 of them, you get a blocked action. That's where these little player discs come into play. So you gain one of these discs, and that means at any time throughout the game on your turn, you can decide to block all other players from using a certain one of the special actions that are granted by the beans. Once you use that block, though, it's gone.
For the whole game, yeah.
So it's you once you gain it, you use it, it's gone. You can gain 1 more, so you can get it twice throughout the game, depending on how many reds you roll. But then it's completely done. The browns, I believe, are the ones where if you roll and create a blend, you get a free research point. So if you roll and you create the rainbow blend or you create the feature blend, you get a free research point on one of the tracks.
On any color of your choice.
You can pick. The yellow allows you to improve 1 bean on a roll. So let's say you
flip it up 1 pip, so I can make the red 4 to a 5 green. There we go. I'd have 3 green this time.
And that's helpful for instance of beating a feature blend. If you need to get just 1 more die, 1 pip higher, that's a beneficial power. The white is probably the most beneficial. That is when you get the ability to re-roll, and that allows you to re-roll any number of dice. So you can re-roll all of them. You can save the 3 greens or 4 greens and try to go for a 5th one. And that power again, as you gain more whites on the research track.
There's the 1-time use, and then when you get further down the track, then you can 2 times in 1 turn.
So you can that again gets to be really powerful. You can get the 2 re-rolls, and then you have the green, which is the flavor shot.
Which means if you roll 2 black, you normally get, that's how you get the flavor die, because there is no black research track. For every 2 black, if you decide to cash those in, you get a flavor shot your next turn. So your next turn, you could roll the 5 white plus a black. So you get an extra black die with the flavor shot.
Yeah, on the green,
I get 2 instead of 1.
When you hit that first larger bean on the research track, and the next time you get a flavor shot, you'd actually get an extra one. And then, as with all the others, you can use that ability, depending on how many greens you get, twice. So if you were to get a flavor shot and you have both of the large beans marked off, you'd actually get 3 flavor shots instead of just 1.
There's it's actually a flavor shot for every 2 black dice.
Yep.
So if you roll lots of black, you could get multiple, and then you get a bonus for each 2, so you get a lot of black dice. You can get up to 5, obviously. That's what they've included. There's one last way to get points, because usually you score points for your blends. If you complete a research track, and there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. The 8th time you research one of those, the 7th time you complete the track, and then you get the number of points over here. So green, according to this, is worth 4 points. However, You don't want to race to the end of the track, because once I complete the green, I cannot use the special abilities for green. Again, I get the 4 points, but I am blocked from using the green special ability that I've worked so hard to unlock. The white, that ability to reroll or reroll twice if you're far enough along the track. You complete the white track, yeah, sure, I'll get 3 victory points, and you only need 21 to win the game, but I can't do rerolls again the rest of the game and once I complete that track. So it's kind of a, is it worth it kind of thing.
Yeah.
But you'll just keep rolling dice, trying to steal the blends from each other until you get 21 points. First one to 21 wins, the game ends immediately.
All right, let's talk strategy. It's a surprisingly deep game for simply just rolling dice. I mean, as far as your strategy goes.
Well, at the beginning, it's 100% luck, because you get one roll,
True.
and that's it. That's all I can work with. But then, the decisions come in, what do I want to research?
Yep.
Which one? So look at the special abilities. Okay, which one of the beans do I want to unlock? And then you start to get choices. And once you've researched all 5 of the colors, and you have the option to roll a pip up, I can re-roll dice. I can block somebody from using, and it goes from just being a simple luck-based dice game to a really strategic. What do I want to do? I have a lot of options.
Yeah, and so it's the first couple times around, obviously the first player is going to get the feature blend right away because there's nobody on it. They can claim it right away if they want to. But you also need to take into account, maybe it's better instead of going for the feature blend to get to that reroll on the white track faster, or to get to the block action on the red track faster. So it's you really got to kind of decide where you want to spend those beans, and sometimes it's not going to be going for the blend.
Otherwise, I mean, there is a lot of strategy, but it's more just remembering what the abilities are, remembering to use them. Sometimes I'd finish my turn like, oh shit, I could have rolled that up, and then I would have been able to beat your feature blend, and oh well, too late. So just keeping track of that, but really, it's just smart dice management.
Yep. And as far as the strategy goes, one that we've kind of hinted to in our review so far here is, I'd at least recommend going on that white track fairly quickly. That reroll becomes a pretty powerful ability later in the game to be able to, especially to beat the feature blend, for instance.
Sure.
Anything else though you can think of, or?
No, I mean it's something you kind of have to play to get a feel for what you want to do.
Yeah, you might want to be conservative on the red actions for the block action.
Yeah, because it's a one-time use.
So you don't want to use that maybe right away, but yeah, you need a couple playthroughs, I think, to kind of get a feel for it.
All right, so let's talk what our likes and dislikes are for the game. I'm going to start right off the bat. Component quality is amazing. The dice are engraved, they're painted. Usually when you have this many dice, there's always that one that has the paint kind of spilling out and the sloppy edge. There's not a single messed up die or die side in my entire game. And then not only are they really nice components, thick cardboard, nice wooden chips here, but they're the artwork and everything, and it's thematic. You've got the coasters. I would not suggest using it for a coaster because then you ruin your game, but everything kind of ties into that coffee theme, and they pull it all together really well.
Yeah, I think the colors, the design kind of evokes the coffee shop feel even, just in the way it looks. It's good components all around. One thing I will say is maybe a little lacking, and this is I've started to notice as a trend with the Dice Hate Me games. They make great games, don't get me wrong, and we have a bunch of them that we like. Their rule book is a little bit confusing at times, not necessarily clear as it could be on how the rules play out or how the different rules interact.
Some of the
with each
special abilities, perhaps. Yeah.
Yeah. So it's a little bit of digging around. I think we had to actually look at the FAQ once for one
time. I mean, overall, I'd say that was a pretty minor quibble.
It is, but it's just I've noticed it like bottom of the ninth, for instance, is one of their games I have, and they had the same issue where the language in the rule book wasn't necessarily as clear as it could have been. Great game still, but
I love the play time. Our first time through this, we knocked out 2 games back to back in under an hour, I believe.
Yep.
I introduced this to Pat and Sam, a couple of our friends, and Sam was like, "Well, I gotta go." I'm like, "Do you have time to play anything else?" He said, "Maybe something in 20 minutes." We played a game. He goes, "Oh, the score sheets are double-sided? Well, I guess I could do another game." And so he liked it enough to want to play it, and he went from like, I should really leave and get home to like, no, let's play this again. So it plays quickly, and it seems to be a hit with everyone I've introduced it to so far.
Yeah, it's pretty easy to get into. Like I said, there is some good strategy to it, but I think it's a light enough game where somebody's played Yahtzee before or played cards before, they can get the hang of it and kind of go from there.
One minor dislike is I'm not a big fan of score sheets because when you run out, you run out. However, I did go to their website before this review to check, and they do offer free PDF files to print this.
Oh, really? That's good.
Yeah, they've got it formatted already. There's 4 per sheet. You can print off a sheet and have enough for a sheet for 4 players. Cut them out.
Yeah.
So you can print them for free. They do offer that up. They're just so cool. I don't want to use them all up. I want to keep them.
You can start printing them now.
You know what I'm going to do? I'm going to print some in like thicker cardstock and probably laminate them so I can keep this. But
dry erase marker on them or something.
So that's good to know. Otherwise, it's pretty solid.
One dislike, and this goes to one of the players in our group, Ian, who's colorblind. He did have a little bit of difficulty with the way the colors are on this. They're not bright, vivid colors. They're kind of the muted. I could see even in low light, the browns, blacks, and greens could be tough to differentiate. So
I suppose
he had a little bit of trouble, but he even
the pips
do
fix that.
Yeah, it's a minor little thing. So we ended up, when we were playing with him, had to, instead of referring to colors at times, we had to refer to it like the side of the die, like the 5 or the 6 or the 2, that kind of thing. Again, a minor quibble, but otherwise I think an all-around solid game. All right, let's talk reviews then. We review our games on a 1 to 10 scale, 1 being terrible, 10 being amazing. I'll start off, and then I'd say I'd give this game a solid 7. It's a fun game. I'm never going to turn it down when somebody offers to bring it out and play it, partially because it's such a quick playing game like we talked about. It's a simple game. It's a nice game to maybe even end the night on because it's not too in-depth. You don't have to be on top of your game to get it. Great component quality. The coasters, the dice, everything like that. I also think it's an accessible game. Again, you might be able to get your people that are family members, friends that aren't really big into board games to kind of sign on to this because it has a common feel. Again, kind of like Yahtzee, kind of like a card game. They can relate it that way. But all around fun game. I think it's a solid one for your collection and a good, quick end of the night or between other bigger games game.
I'm going to bump that score up. I'd say I'd give it an 8. For the reasons you said, it is really accessible. Everybody I played with liked it. I've enjoyed it a lot. It's a unique theme. The idea of making coffee and different brews, and it actually works well with the dice, is kind of cool. I always like when theme comes through and gameplay and makes sense. That helps me understand the rules better. But like, why does this happen? Oh, because. But the other thing is, I love dice and I like dice games. But inevitably, what happens is you buy the smaller dice games like Chupacabra, Bears. We've reviewed some in the past, and what happens is it never feels like a full game. It feels like just a filler, and it's fun the first few times. Then it kind of feels gimmicky. Whereas I feel like this is an actual game with good choices to make. It's almost like a Euro game with dice. And so I think this one's going to have a little more longevity than most dice games. Like, it feels like a full game, even though it only plays in 20 to 40 minutes, depending on how many players and how long you think.
And yeah, I didn't mean to say like as an end of night or in between game that it was like a Chupacabra, because I think it is a more advanced game than that. I had to agree with that.
So I think that this one, it actually you could make a shorter game night, granted, but you could make a game night around this where you played like 4 games back to back. I don't think it would get old. And again, we didn't stress this enough. You do not have to play with the same 5 abilities each time. If I flip this over, there's blank spots, and it comes with all of these discs, which are all different special abilities. So the white could be any number of different abilities. The green could be any number of different abilities. So you will not be playing the same game twice, which is really cool. But great game, and I'm going to stick with an 8.
And that's our review of VivaJava, the coffee game, the dice game. Check back on our channel soon and see what we've been playing.